Good afternoon, Atlanta. You're listening to WCEG talkradio.com, the new WCEG Network. We are veterans today. We are the Worldwide Community Empowerment Group. I am Herman Anderson. Anthony Aiken is my co-host. We have a guest today, Mr. Williams, retired, Mr. David Williams Jr. retired. We will go through that. But first, let me give you the information regarding our broadcast today. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. And you can do that by Facebook Live, at YouTube Live, WCEG Network, WCEG Talk Radio. You also can go to hashtag WCEG Radio, hashtags Veterans Today. Go to Anthony's page, and also you can go to, as I said, YouTube and follow us live that way. And our disclaimer is the topics and opinion are those of the show hosts and guests, not WCEG Networks. So we're getting ready to get started. And next I'll have Anthony do his introduction. Then we will introduce our guests and we'll start the show. And as we normally do, we'll do a little current events and then move into the other part of it. Okay.
But I can tell you that, Herman, thank you very much for the introduction for our show today, so we can let our guests know who they're talking to, the voice of the community. So first of all, it's a blessing to see you, a blessing to see retired Sergeant Williams, and it's a blessing to be on WCEG Talk Radio to our listeners around the world. And we have an outstanding guest today, and we're going to ask some real good questions and let him tell the folks a little bit about who he is and why he's doing what he's trying to do. So welcome to the show and good seeing everybody.
Mr. Williams, would you give us a brief introduction?
Yes, first I'd like to say thank you, Mr. Anderson, Mr. Atkins. I appreciate y'all for letting me on the show. I'm David Williams from Atlanta, Georgia. I served a good 20 years in the military. 5th ID was my first patch I ever worn, and 3rd Army was the last patch I wore. Both units I love, but in Atlanta here, occasionally I get a chance to help less fortunate people by feeding bread and stuff every Tuesday, picking up food and supplies every Friday. A partnership with churches, Hoop Nation, our partnership with where I help with kids and stuff. So now I'm running for political power in the city of South Fulton.
So
trying just to do my little part.
So you said you're from where?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. So are you a Grady baby, as they call it?
I am.
A Grady baby. Okay. So you spent 20 years in the U.S. Army. What type duties did you have in the military?
Well, I always tell people I was born in 13 Bravo, which was artillery, but I was raised 92 Alpha, which is logistics supply, automated.
Okay, so you can't hear it, but you can still push boxes.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I hear you.
That is good. Anthony, let's do a current event, which is statesman and General Colin Powell passed this week.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You want to make a few comments about that?
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty tough. I didn't see that one coming. I got to know General Powell on the periphery when I was assigned in Washington, D.C. I actually went by his office when I was a colonel at Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington, D.C. General Powell had a close association with my cousin, who was Lieutenant General Henry Doctor, who became the first U.S. Army IG as a 3-star. And as a matter of fact, when my cousin passed away and being, interned at Arlington National Cemetery, General Powell did his eulogy. So I've been around the general quite a bit. One thing I appreciate about him so much is that you all recall during the Bush and Cheney administration, in his position, he was sort of an advisor to the president. And what was going on was to make a decision about invading Iraq and Afghanistan area. And he went out on the limb and he did that. But years later, once he found out the truth that the intel that he received was not accurate, and that a statement that he made about weapons of mass destruction, WMD, was totally wrong, he could have thrown President Bush and Vice President Cheney under the bus. But he stood up and he manned up and said, I made a mistake, and that was the greatest regret of my life. So as a result of that, he showed integrity, he showed remorse, he showed I'm a man to fess up to a mistake that was made, and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus because it was out of my mouth that those words came, even though the intel was incorrect. So his legacy is intact. He will go down in history as one of our heroes, a gentleman that has done so many things around the world during his military campaign. I was actually coming back from an overseas tour when he was a commander of FORCECOM here in Atlanta, Forces Command, the largest land force commander in the world. So I salute him, just like many of you salute him for his distinguished military career and his distinguished career as a statesman in the United States.
Thank you. That is great.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll move into our program. What we, Anthony and myself, been doing this show going on 6 years now. We focus on helping veterans and benefits, entitlement, information, getting the community involved, the entire community, because we feel like if there's a veteran in the church or in the family, if the veteran is hurting or if the veteran is getting benefits, it benefits the entire community, like we say on our
Correct.
On our promo, Worldwide Community Empowerment. So we empower the veteran, we empower the community. So with that in mind, myself and Anthony has some questions, but we'll start by asking you to tell us what's on your mind as the way you see you can help veterans.
Okay, one of the things I've noticed being a veteran, I'm 100% disabled, but the problem is right now VA sends you out to these outsource places, which they don't know veterans. They don't have really a clue of what a veteran does or have done. They only got something that was written maybe 2-3 years ago. And a lot of times I believe, it's my own personal opinion, I believe for a veteran to get in there in front of them, they've already made their decision what they're gonna do for or not gonna do for the veteran. And I think they need to stop outsourcing that and source it to people who actually have served or who work for VA, because most of those know, and they see veterans all the time, so they know what veterans go through. They know which veterans are, telling the truth or the ones that's pulling the leg. They have that. But when you go out to somebody and you come in and you smile and you having a good day, they think you're all right or they think you better. They just don't know what you go through to get to that point of the day where you can smile and make yourself look better.
Well, that's extremely important. But one thing that I always try to encourage veterans to do, that's whoever that veteran would be, male or female, is that when they go in to see their primary care provider, their PCP, at the VA or one of the VA clinics, it's cognizant among themselves that they request a copy of the doctor's notes. They can ask that. I need to find out exactly what you're writing, basically because what you just stated there, Brother Williams, is that in most cases, some of the physicians don't have a clue on what the veteran is dealing with, has dealt with, and for them to understand the process, especially if a veteran is going to try and receive some type of benefits or compensation. So, as we always said in the military, understand the rules of engagement. It's the same when you go into the VA. The engagement is for you to get a copy of your medical report from that doctor, and especially if you're going through the process of trying to get some compensation. So your DAV or your veteran of foreign wars or whoever your third-party representative is, your veteran service officer is, to help you go through that maze to get what you've earned.
Well, yes, Anthony just mentioned the point, which is important, is the VSO, and whatever organization the veterans select is fine. But I'm a disabled veteran, so everybody on here is. But it's before you even get to the VA, if you have, and I just tried to do mine myself, and it didn't work, so I went and found a VSO. But what we emphasize to veterans that are just starting is you really, there are exceptions, but you really should have a VSO.
That's right. I mean, I'm sure Sergeant Williams, myself, who've gone through the process and we're service-connected disabled veterans, have gone through many, many exams, many, many physicians, many, many consultations. But it all comes down to one thing, is making sure that everyone utilizes a veteran service organization to help you traverse that maze. The VA is a maze. It's designed to frustrate, I think, because if you don't do it the correct way, it could last a very long time, and it's unfortunate. So how was that process for you, Sergeant Williams?
Well, now I'm gonna take a little phrase from the military. For me, it was that hurry up and wait. They want you to hurry up and do everything. They want you to put everything in. They want you to put it in right. And then they want to take their time before they respond back. My first claim took 2 years before I even got a response. But since then, I've been fortunate to where I changed to Fort McPherson, which is close. So if it's my primary care doctor is right there. So it's not far. I ain't got to fight traffic to go. And then my doctor there, he's all right. But he's one of those, he like to do the step process. You know, first, let's talk about it. 2, let's try a glass of water. 3, let's try ibuprofen. 4, let's talk about it again. So he'll get there, but for some reason he want to take the vacation route.
I've not heard that before, the vacation route. Well, okay. So have you discussed with him exactly what you're trying to do and what you need him to do? Because, you know, that's your opportunity to really put them on track. They only have a job because of you.
Yeah, the last time we was in there, I did. So he said he'll put some things in, but I guess because of the pandemic, you know, I hadn't heard from him, except for he called me one time to ask me, I was in an accident. He called to ask me about my eye. But since then, he said, as soon as they start seeing patients, he'll get me back in there.
So as a counselor, because I think we know, as you started off, it's in Anthony, when we first started doing this show, it's the system, and it's really the system at the highest level. we talked about people having to wait. When me and Anthony started 6 years ago,
Yeah,
there were people having to wait 5 years. That
correct,
was where they had lost 1,000 people records in Phoenix and California.
correct.
So, uh, and that's at a national level, but in order for that to happen, it comes up from the local level through the state until they get there. So, what regulations or what things that you think you can do in Georgia in Fulton County to deal with that process?
Well, taking another phrase from the military, we know everything 9 times 10 is a dog and pony show. When you just the average veteran like myself right now, you can call 100 times and nobody's really gonna move a muscle. But let's say hypothetically, if I get a title, I become councilman and I start making phone calls or I go start checking. Now to them, I'm somebody who can shine the light on whether they're doing right or they're doing wrong. So I really believe there'd be more to help me. And if I'm that person who I say I am, I'm gonna be there every day because it's not just about me, it's about veterans, which I'm a veteran, which makes me a part of the family. So a good steward would take care of his family. So I'll be making calls. I'll be trying to find out why it's taking so long. Somebody got to give me an answer. I'll go all the way to the governor if I have to.
So we understand that you have some aspirations. The aspirations is to get into local politics. And let's make sure that we're clear here that WCEG Network is not endorsing anyone. What we're trying to do is to make sure that you have a forum to discuss your platform with veterans, to let them know that, hey, I'm a veteran, I served just like you. I come with order, I come with a background of getting things done. And I feel as though that with that background, I can do something for the constituents in my particular district. So tell us a little bit about why David Williams Jr. would like to move into politics and what is he going to bring to the table and make a difference?
Okay, one of the things I think local politics is missing, it's missing leadership, it's missing honesty, it's missing transparency and communication. A lot of people are not telling the public or the community what's going on. So a lot of times when you don't tell anybody or let anybody know what's going on, then they feel that you're doing nothing. They feel nothing's happening. People like to read the news. They like to look at the news so they can see what's going on in the community, know what's going on. I think a lot of times, what y'all consider politicians, I consider myself a steward. A steward is somebody who believes in the people and are supporting the people. Well, to me, politicians are ones who have a self-interest. One thing Uncle Sam taught me is selfless service. So it's not about you, it's about the team. So that's why I decided to get into politics. And I want everybody to know it's not about me. It's about what we can do collectively to make our community, to make our city, and to make our country better.
Wow, that's powerful. You know, that's a real powerful statement because we all believe in that one team, one mission concept. As you and I have had several discussions before, and there are over 700,000 veterans in the state of Georgia. 700,000. Of that 700,000, probably 200,000 here in the city of Atlanta. And in your particular district, what district are you in the area?
I'm in District 4, which is in the city of South Fulton, south of Atlanta.
South of Atlanta. So I'm sure that there's a number of veterans that live in that particular area in your particular community. So have you been able to reach out to them to let them know what your platform's all about and how they can help you win your particular seat?
Well, the ones that I know and the ones that I've met while I've been out on the trail, yes, I've talked to them. But as you spoke, just in my district alone, there is probably somewhere around the neighborhood of thousands of veterans, because even in one neighborhood, I've seen as many as 100 veteran tags. And that was just in one neighborhood I went through. And that neighborhood had about 400 homes.
Okay. Well, one thing that Herman and I know, because we've been around for a minute, and we've seen and had a number of politicians or advocates on the show. But one thing that they always push forward with is veterans first, making sure that they do the right things for the veteran and making sure that the veteran understands what can be done for them, because when we went into the military, they said when we retired or whatever, we had a blank check for health care, a blank check for benefits, a blank check for any other compensation that's needed. So are you going to be an advocate for veterans in your particular area to make sure that they get what they've earned?
Yes, indeed. But sir, if you don't mind me, I've got to say this though. One thing that we have to do as veterans is we have to look in the mirror and we have to make sure we do our part. We've got to also go out and vote to make sure we get those people in office who are like us or who want the same things we want or who wants the quality of life for veterans as they should. We also got to get out and advocate for other people, the civilians who don't understand structure, who don't understand what it takes to be a team. We have to advocate to them is why we should get out and vote.
Man, is that powerful, Herman, or what?
That is powerful. And like you say, we have done this. This is not our first rodeo. And we've had quite a few veterans and people that are running for office on this show. And one thing that stuck in my mind that some of these guys and ladies that were running for office, and they also won, but they also pointed out that veterans vote at a higher level than anybody else anyway. But in order to get them to vote for you, you got to show them what you're doing for them, because the competition is doing that also. So if they think the competition is doing more than you, they're gonna vote, but they're gonna vote for the competition. So that's just a little tidbit I picked up.
Oh yeah, they're going to vote. They're definitely going to vote, and we always hope that they vote their conscience and understand what a politician is bringing to the table. Because you said something earlier about politician and versus an advocate. A politician could be for themselves, but an advocate is going to be for the people. So, what if you were elected tomorrow? What would be some of the things that you would like to put into place right away for the people in District 4, your community?
Okay, one, in my district, we don't have an urgent care center. In my district, we don't have a senior citizen center. In my district, we don't even have a youth center. So those are the things I'll be advocating and fighting for. And people always kill me when they talk about, well, we don't have those things because we don't have money. And I disagree with that, because a lot of those things you get because of tax dollars in your area. You get those things for population, like a library. A library is due because of population. You got so many people in a certain area, they have to provide those things for you. And I think sometimes people just don't ask, or they take no the first time and they're done. I'm a fighter. If I figure I can get it, I'm gonna fight to the end till it gets done.
A fighter. That's interesting, because if you got to fight for something that you believe in, that you have a strong conviction for. But like my high school coach used to always tell me, your eyes are a picture to your soul. When you look someone in their eyes, or even shake a person's hand, you can tell in most cases, is this person genuine or not? This person's going to work hard for you. And I hope that you bring that passion to the table and continue with that passion, because you served this nation with integrity and honor. You retired as an honorable soldier. And we hope that you would bring that same philosophy into office if you're elected to win.
If you don't mind me saying, there's one thing my mom said to me when I was young. She said, you don't have anything but your word and your integrity of who you are. So if I didn't think I was going to be honest, respectable, and do a great job, then I wouldn't be in this seat trying to accomplish something. I'd be doing something else, like maybe ice skating or smoking a cigarette or something. But those things are not an interest for me. Those things are not my passion. My passion is to help people as much as I can. If I don't have an answer, I have enough people where I can call to get an answer for somebody. And I think that's one of the things we're missing in life. People only help when they want to, or they only help if they can make themselves look good by helping. But I think help anybody in need, because at the end of the day, God blesses you for what you do.
Well, I think also I have a nonprofit, and so does Anthony. And my nonprofit is Veterans Helping Veterans. We have members all through Metro, but most of our members are in Clayton and in South Fulton County. And the number one issue that you find when you start dealing with veterans is claims, is medical benefits, health benefits, disability benefits. And the starting point, if you start at point 1 or point 0, is there are a lot of veterans that are not aware of what benefits they have earned by serving in the military, whether they spent 2 years retired. And another issue is I'm a Agent Orange veteran, and so is Anthony. And there's the Agent Orange database. And there's veterans out there that are even not in the Agent Orange database. So some of the needs are the basic needs that veterans in the community are not aware of. And number 2, as it's difficult to make them aware of it and get them involved, but that's on a community level. That's, to me, that's a starting point.
Yes, sir, indeed. And I'm glad you brought it up. There's a friend of mine. He was a Vietnam vet, and we was having a conversation one day. And this is after Barack Obama passed the thing about veterans. And so when he told me he was a Vietnam vet, he told me where he was in Vietnam, and I was like, "Hey, did you go down and get your benefits? Because you're entitled to some." And he was like, "No, I haven't been there and been to VA in 20 years. And I was told that I couldn't." I said, "Sir," I said, "do me a favor. Go down, put in your claim, tell them when you was in Vietnam, and see if you can get your compensation for Agent Orange." To this day, I talked to him, and every time he see me, he said, "I thank you." He said, "Because I would have never went down there if you hadn't told me." So when I'm out and I talk to veterans, the first thing come out of my mouth is, "Have you got your benefits? Have you applied?"
Well, you're on the right track. I had one of my co-founders named Louis Jackson. That was his favorite term. So congratulations.
I can tell you a real story just on that. This week, I received a phone call from a family of a veteran who's now 96 years old. And he is not doing very well. So they wanted to find out what could be done to support him through the VA. So the very first thing I asked them was, "Do you happen to have a copy of his DD Form 214, which is a snapshot of his military career?" And what we found out is that this gentleman served back in World War II, Korean War, but he never filed for any benefits. Now he's at a very late stage in his life, and his family is trying to push things forward to see what type of support that he can receive from the VA. So, as I said, there are many veterans out there that are just leaving money on the table, leaving service and support on the table, not only for themselves, but for their family, either because they're either lackadaisical, don't know, aren't motivated, don't have enough knowledge, on tenacity to get it done and get it and see it through. So there are real stories out there, like Herman mentioned, of veterans that have earned their benefits and compensation, but for whatever reason don't follow through.
So in that, no, that really is it's an unmet need for those of us that's into. I'm into advocating for veterans and helping veterans. I'm not taking the political route, but there's a lot of opportunities out there, particularly in our neighborhood. To be honest with you about it, is to make this better.
Well, the number one thing for a veteran is health care. That is the number one thing that veterans advocate for, health care. When you take a look at the rising cost of health insurance and all of the issues that went along with the recent, say, Obamacare and all the different kind of things, in your position, if you're successful in winning, would you be an advocate, not only for the veterans in your community, but to also be an advocate to make sure that the VA is aware and should do everything they can possibly do to help veterans?
Well, that's one of the reasons why I'm running, because for some reason, I just believe in society now. If you're not an athlete, if you're not a millionaire, you've got to have some type of title for anybody to even start listening to you. So if I get in public office, I'm only going in public office to help or to assist people. And trust me, I'm a veteran. So, that would be one of my top priorities, because helping veterans would also be what? Helping myself. Helping the next few veterans that will come alive down the road. This is not something that we're talking about today. We're talking about things, the veterans before me and the veterans after me who will have to deal with it. So we can fix a plan, fix the system now, then it's something that veterans down the road don't have to fight for. Right now, it's sad that even though I'm 100%, every 2 years, I got to go down and fight to make sure that I'm doing everything, saying everything, looking a certain way, not with a suit and tie on, trying to keep my benefits. It seems like if I go down there and I'm dressed up and looking good, they cancel something. If I go down and sit down, look like I had a meal in 3 days, then they give me something. It shouldn't have to happen that way.
Well, I mean, you're exactly right, and you're telling it like it is, and it shouldn't be that way, but also information. Our people need to know that. That's all part of. I call it maintaining your benefits. Once you get them, you got to maintain them. You got to go get your checkups. You got to keep going getting tested, and like you say, you still have to monitor your language and all of that. Yes, they want to take a look at your package and redo it. So you have to deal with all that through the process. It's an ongoing process, and we also have this. My organization is 10 years old. We have people that was at 100%, and all of a sudden they hadn't did what you said, went to the doctor or anything. They get a notice they've been cut back to 80% or 70%.
Right.
Well, that's what I said earlier. You got to understand the rules of engagement. There are different types of disability levels. So I'm 100% service-connected, disabled, but I'm unemployable. You're 100% service-connected, disabled, but you're not unemployable, which means that you could still work. And the difference is, just like you said earlier, because you can work, you need to make sure that you continue following through with the VA, to take your exams and go through. But in my case, I'm unemployable. I can't work anymore. In other words, Herman calls me jacked up, but it's okay. I understand. I understand that, but that happens from a 26-year military career, and they have deemed me unemployable. So you need to understand that an Anthony Aiken, who's unemployable as 100% disabled, service connected, is different than a David Williams, who is 100% disabled, but still employable. So he needs to go to exam. So the bottom line is go and follow through on your medical appointments and do what you need to do so you don't go down to what Herman stated, 80%, 70% or lower, because each one of us represents what? A social security number.
Right.
There are a lot of other veterans just like us. So when we go into a building, they don't say, hey, Herman, hey, Anthony. No, they'll say, what is your last initial and for?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
So once you understand the rules of engagement, then you could follow through and do what you need to do to keep your benefits.
Let me, Anthony, let me give out a couple of numbers. One, as you say, we have people that are just getting started and they need that DD Form 214, and a lot of us probably misplaced them. So there's several ways you can get a copy of your DD 214, and each state has a Georgia Department of Veterans Service. In Georgia, you can start with the Georgia Department of Veterans Service, and one of their numbers is 404-656-5940. If you have to go to the VA National Archives, that number is 314-801-0800. Again, the VA National Archives, 314-801-0800. And the Georgia Department of Veterans Service is 404-656-5940. And this is just one of Georgia's offices. I think they have at least 13 different Veterans Services offices. And there is also another opportunity if you would like to do it totally by computer, is to go to Mill Connect. And you would have, that's a VA system, and you would have to get your password, sign in. But if you get into Mill Connect, you can actually order a lot of things from that and make some applications. So that's basic information on your DD2 Form 14, and you need it to get started, and you also need it in other situations. You need it if someone passes that a veteran and you're dealing with the barrier situation. You need a copy.
That is so true. Herman laughs at me, but it's okay because I have a copy of my DD Form 214 on my phone. I carry it with me all the time. So in the event that it's needed, my wife knows my password, my kids know my password on my phone. I'm 71 years old. I'm not hiding nothing. So, they need to have access to it in the event that it's needed, that DD Form 214. So we're a big advocate of it. I'm so happy that Herman always has that information readily available to share with our guests around the world, the importance of having that document. About a month ago, a neighbor of mine's father, 81 years old, was on his way to a doctor's appointment because he wasn't feeling very well. And he fell down the yard, and they called the EMS services. Unfortunately, he was gone. But his family didn't have access to his DD Form 214 right away. Had to go through the routes of getting it to make sure that he was taken care of. So I'm just saying that these things are real. These are real world situations. So do you have a copy of your DD Form 214 there, Mr. David Williams Jr.?
I sure do. I keep a couple copies because some of my friends, I like to tease them about how many good conducts medals they have compared to how many I have.
Oh, oh, you a goody two shoes, okay? You're a goody two shoe guy. Okay, all right, all right.
A couple of additions to that. In order to get to Mill Connect, you have to go through the process of getting the premium logon ID, the DS logon, where they ask you a lot of information. They verify it through you sending them a photo, your thumbprint, or whatever. So it makes it a little complicated, but the VA is made things more complicated. You also have to have that now for what e-benefits and in order to see your claim information. So
Correct.
that's another issue is it particularly since we've been dealing with COVID-19, there's nobody around to help you and the system is screwed up. So it's very frustrating.
Well, one thing I hope you would do, even if you're elected or not elected, and since you are connected to somewhat to the South Fulton government, is that they really do much more to promote information flow and support the veterans. Herman just mentioned e-benefits. That's so important for a veteran to sign up. The other one is My Healthy Vet, making sure that all veterans are signed up for that so they can order their prescriptions, follow their appointments, send in private and secured messaging, take a look at their lab reports. I mean, there's so much you can do. So I hope you, in your particular role, if so elected, is to have some type of quarterly forum, something that you can open up to the community and have veterans come to X location, and you can bring in different types of groups to provide great information to veterans. Is that something you think you could do?
Of course. To me, information is power. When we know stuff, then when you know better, you do better. I know that's a saying, you know.
Exactly right. Exactly right. You know, my favorite phrase is that when you wake up in the morning and you take a look at the mirror, who do you see? You see you.
Yeah,
and
right.
You want to have your best foot forward. First of all, you thank God for another day.
Right.
But you want to make sure that you do everything possible to uplift and help and support another veteran, someone that has served with you. You know, when you go online and you take a look at some of the top issues facing veterans that people can't see: depression, PTSD, sexual harassment, sexual abuse, drug addiction. You physically cannot see these things in individuals. People look at me and they don't know that I am legally blind, that I'm a visually impaired veteran that have a lot of issues. But when you see me, I don't represent what they consider disabled. And you have to be careful on that because I am and others are. So I would hope that you would be a big advocate in making sure that people are aware that they have to support those that serve and now are disabled.
I think, you don't mind me saying, I think the problems lie with the way our community is devised. Because when we show disabilities, we are always showing amputees. We are always showing people in a wheelchair, or whatever the case may be. So we give a false look at what disabilities are. There are disabilities of people who they got their legs, but they have a problem walking. They have their arms, but they can't write. They can't raise their arms. So I think we have to change how people look at disabilities, because all disabilities you cannot see.
Correct.
Correct. And let me do two things. Number one, since me and Anthony been doing this so long, he kind of went down the list of stuff that I was gonna give you some numbers to anyway. For an example, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 1-800-273-8255. Again, 1-800-273-8255. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. And the National Sexual Assault Hotline is 1-800-656-4673. 1-800-656-4673. And the National Homeless Hotline is 1-877-424-3838. 1-877-424-3838.
And those are great numbers to know and have access to. We can go back to Houston, Texas, where this young Marine who had issues coming back from serving in Afghanistan. And he went to the VA a number of times and couldn't be seen for a number of reasons. So it got to the point that when he was seen, they was giving him another pill to take care of an issue. So before you know it, he had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different pills to take care of an issue, which was not taking care of the issue. He was depressed, he had PTSD, he was not being clinically treated for those particular illnesses, and he ended up committing suicide. Suicide. And there are cases where you had a Marine colonel who had gone to the VA a number of times to be seen, and for whatever reason was not seen. So what does he do? He goes home and puts on his dress blues, drives to the VA hospital, and commits suicide. Sending a message: we need help. We need your support. The VA system is the largest healthcare system in the United States. But yet we have VA systems that rank very, very low. I hope that you would become an advocate to make sure that the leaders of the VA system understand their role. That's what we need you to do.
I would be less than a human being if I didn't advocate for that. My dad's a veteran. I'm a veteran. My best friends are veterans. I have family members that are veterans. I have people I just met in the last week that are veterans. So I would be less than a human being not to be an advocate to fight for veterans' rights, what they're entitled to, and any help that we can get. I would even like to see with my, well, I like to see it go nationally, but even with my local police department, I would like for them to have a veteran advocate on call if they go to a veteran's house and he's acting erratic, he's acting a certain kind of way. Because a real veteran like myself probably can go in there and talk to him. You can take a veteran. I had one that wanted to fight the other night. I went to him like, what unit you in? He started talking more about what unit he was in than about what he was mad about. And I was able to calm down the situation. Sometimes it takes a person who's been there in order to talk to somebody who's been there.
Well, I know you gentlemen like seeing the silver fox on top. That shows wisdom, but I wear the hat because I want folks to know that I am proud to call myself a veteran. I'm proud to know a Herman Anderson. I'm proud to know a David Williams, the men and women that have served our nation with integrity and honor. We're proud of you, that you have served our nation, and now you want to take it to the next level to support veterans in your particular community.
Well, I think we have an opportunity to start at a community church level and move up is to identify, to get veterans to to not necessarily identify themselves, but feel comfortable being around other veterans, because there are a lot of disabilities that you can't see.
Correct.
There is also a lot of people being paid for disabilities that they're just being paid because they know how to, they earned it. I'm not saying they didn't earn it, but they had enough information to know how to do it. And there are certain segment of the population and of the community that don't. It's the amount of information and not amount of access is not equal.
You know what's so disappointing? I read a story this morning on military news about the abuse of veterans that are disabled. And it was a story about this veteran and this woman that convinced his family members. No, I think she was a family member. I'm sorry, take that back. A family member to take care of this veteran, to have the veteran move into her home so she can take care of him. And over a period of years, she not only physically abused him, but took all of his money. Over $70,000 was taken away, and she used it for personal needs, etc. So when someone says to me, "Thank you for your service," I really appreciate hearing that. But for those individuals that are taking care of veterans, please don't abuse them. Please don't take advantage of them. They've earned that for the freedom that you enjoy every day, because freedom is not free. It's not free. So when I hear about the abuse of a veteran, it just boils my South Carolina low country blood to the point that it's wrong. So listeners out there, all of our listeners around the world, support veterans, be an advocate for veterans, but don't abuse veterans. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. And to all of you that are Vietnam era veterans, I know there's some of you guys out there. So I'm going to give you the number for the database. I'm going to give you two numbers. The first one is 1-877-222-8387. That was 1-877-222-8387. And the other one is the benefits number, 1-800-827-1000. And tell the operator you want the Agent Orange database.
Yeah. David, we're almost at the end of the show, and we need you to say some parting words. There's something that is you really want to impart and let our listeners know, how they can support you and what they need to do.
Okay. First, I also like to say thank you, Mr. Anderson. Thank you, Mr. Aikens, for having me. Two, I would like to say family first and veterans first. Take care of your families, take care of your veterans, and take care of yourself. You can't take care of anybody unless you take care of yourself. But in order to get in touch with me, you can reach me at david.lee.williams@2017@gmail.com. Or you can go to my website, davidleewilliamsjr.com.
When is the election day?
The election is November 2nd, and early voting has already started.
Early voting has started. Well,
as Herman, one more time, sir. Don't mean to interrupt. But
I'm sorry.
I will be, it'd be a shame for me not to go ahead and give my slogan. My slogan is, you can bet on a vet.
That's right.
Sounds great. So, and repeat again the district that you run for. Yeah.
It's the city of South Fulton, District 4.
Okay.
The city of South Fulton is 4 years old. It came into the state as the 5th largest city.
That's over 100,000 individuals living in the city of South Fulton. But, as we get close to closing, Herman and I always have to give out some kudos to the lady that brought us to where we are right there, Miss Penny Rogers, and the WCEG Network and the network of other show hosts. And we couldn't do anything without Miss Greer, Vivian Greer, our technical czar. That young lady is just outstanding, and she does great work for us. So we want to say thank you to Miss Greer, and a big kudos to our kahuna, Miss Penny Rogers. You agree with that, Herman?
I agree with that. And let me tell our listeners again who we are. We are the WCEG Network. We are the Worldwide Community Empowerment Group. We speak life in the community. And as you say, we have quite a few other programs that are available. So please go to our website and look through them and listen to some of our other programs that are here to empower the community.
And you also, too, Mr. Williams, you can go and tell your constituents and your family and friends that they can go on Facebook and YouTube, and they'll be able to hear your interview today. And hopefully that will help you boost your campaign. And we support you 100%. And we wish you Godspeed in getting it done.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Anderson, if possible, offline, we can discuss. I would love to help your nonprofit. Like today, when I leave here, I'm going to pick up food. Last time I had 3 trucks worth. So I don't know what I'll be getting today, but I'll be getting something.
Very good.
Okay, I will get in touch with you, not today, but the first of the week. We do food distribution. We've been doing it for over a year now, so I see an opportunity.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Very good. Very good. Well, I tell you what, it's been a great show. Thank you very much for coming on. I know your schedule's busy, but we appreciate you taking the time to be with an Air Force veteran, an Army veteran, and supporting another Army veteran. And we got to give a shout out to our good partner who's not with us. We call ourselves the Three Amigos, and that's Gustavo Juliao. And Gustavo served our country with integrity and honor, and we want to say hello to him, and we look forward to him returning back to being part of the Three Amigos on our show.
We thank you very much, and we want to let our listeners know to have a safe weekend and enjoy it and listen to other programs on WCEG Network. So everyone, have a good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.